I'm the FanFic Critic. I read it, you listen. Today we're gonna be taking a look at writer's block.
Hi, FanFic Critic.
What are you doing here?
Remember when I told you I would see you next season?
Yeah.
It's next season.
Wow, you're right on the dot with these things, aren't you?
Well, I figured I better not waste any time and just get this done.
I noticed that. Now, before we get started on this very abrupt co-review, you have read fanfics before, right?
Absolutely. I've read things from Comics Nix. I've read My Immortal at least twice. I've read The Adventures of Dark Yagami. And I've even seen some episodes of your show. So I think I know what I'm in for.
Okay, good, because today's fanfic is most certainly going to be a doozy.
Oh, goody!
Let's just say it's a fanfic involving John McCain and the comedian from Watchmen.
Huh?
Let's not spoil it for the viewers, but you'll see as the story goes on.
Well, it can't be worse than Hermione drowning in her own shit, but okay.
Alright, today's fanfic is called Call Me Sir by Courtney Parali. It's rated Fiction M. I'm not liking this new setup for fanfiction.net. It's in English, it's Angst parody, it's Edward B. / the comedian, and it has 1,917 words. Now here's the deal. I'm going to read this top bit here, you know, the title, yada yada yada, and then you can read the first paragraph of the story. Does that sound good?
Sounds fine by me.
Okay then, let's not waste any time. Title, Call Me Sir. Rating, NC-17. It won't be long before this fanfic is off of fanfiction.net with their new purging policy. Pairing, John McCain / the comedian, or OMC John if it bothers you. It's going to bother me either way because he's a real person, you fucking dumbass. Word count, 1,804 words. Warnings. Political RPF, sort of. Rimming, light bondage. Summary, the comedian wasn't exactly the hero type.
Well, no shit. For those who don't know, and if you're comics fans, I assume you would, the comedian was not a really nice person. Yeah, he was a sociopath, he was a rapist, he was a murdering sociopathic rapist, and, yeah, generally not a very nice fellow, although he at least draws the line at genocide. I mean, it's nice to have a sociopathic rapist with morals.
So what are you, a walking encyclopedia for comic book characters?
No, I just know a thing or two.
Well that comes in handy.
I mean, I'm no Linkara or anything like that.
You could have fooled me.
Really?
But then again, I'm not really into comic books anyway, so...
Yeah, I guess we all just look alike.
No, not at all. Just, you guys both review, you know, comics.
Okay, let's move on before this gets a little bit more awkward. He had heard the screams, deep bellowing screams of his Vietnamese captors. He knew of Nixon's plans to send in the masked vigilantes to offset the balance in the war. He never though... Wow, two lines in and we're already encountering a spelling error. That's exciting. He never thought one of their assignments would be to rescue a few POWs shot down up north. He was a conservative man. He believed that the American people should rely on legit military assets rather than outsourcing to those masked freaks. But you'd never hear him argue, not after he saw the man who'd sliced up his arm lit up by a flamethrower. When the door kicked in, he expected something along the lines of, "Are you alright?" or "Where are the rest of the men?" Not the deep laugh and crude remark he was given when he hadn't moved from the bed. They fuck you so good you don't want to leave?
No, sir. He hadn't meant the sir to follow. It was more of just a habit.
Sir, huh? The man laughed again and tossed a cigar on the crisp body that used to be the leader of his captors. I think I like that. No wonder the Viet Cong kept you locked up here all to himself. Because you were just so polite.
Sir, huh? The man laughed again and tossed a cigar on the crisp body that used to be the leader of his captors. I think I like that. No wonder the Viet Cong kept you locked up here all to himself. Because you were just so polite.
What a charming person. Let's continue. He couldn't manage to look him in the eye. Okay. And by the way, it's look, not looked. Get rid of the ED. He fixed his gaze fixated on a smiley face pin attached to what could hardly pass as body armor. I'm not sure where the others are. He choked off before moving to the edge of the cot.
Look, folks, yeah, we know that most people in comic books don't tend to have, what you would call really good body armor. But that's mostly because a lot of them have superpowers, which kind of helps in the avoidance of things like bullets, bombs, knives, and stuff. And even for those masochistic few who enjoy getting stabbed, burnt, shot, blown up, and otherwise maimed, they have things called healing factors. Or, you know, like I said, masochistic pain fetishes. So it really doesn't bother them all that much. Because who wants to see a comic book of nothing but a guy holding his knee going, ah, ah?
Let alone a movie.
I didn't ask you that, boy. He stalked over to the edge of the cot, placing his heavy boot between John's dirty feet, his discomfort evident. Dirty feet, comma, his discomfort evident. You're forgot the sir, boy. You're, Y-O-U, apostrophe R-E.
And that still does not make any sense. You are forgot the sir boy. It should just say you forgot the sir boy.
He didn't move to answer, and his would-be rescuer placed a hand on his shoulder. He was shoved back onto the cot at an awkward angle, his neck craned to the side to avoid hitting the small table beside it. Why ain't you cuffed? He gripped on of his wrists. Don't you mean one of his wrists? I mean, not trying to be a grammar Nazi here, but come on, man. You a commie now? Have you seen any gladiator movies? Have you ever seen a grown man naked?
Interesting reference. Let's move forward. No, sir.
Blake smiled. That's better. He grabbed his other hand and pushed them both under his back. Keep them there, understand? John nodded slightly as his lips parted slightly. That earned him another laugh. You getting off on this already? He pulled roughly at what was left of John's BDUs. Boy, we got a long way to go before you're allowed to get off. Blake rised up, should be rose up, and looked down at the smaller man. You know what? Get up. This ain't working for me. Suddenly this fic isn't starting to work for me either.
And yes, rape always turns the victim on. John got up almost simultaneously with Blake's orders and stood before him, almost a half a foot shorter. Blake pulled him up against me. I guess this is first person now? Don't do that! And rubbed against the crease of his ass. I want you to use that rope over there to tie your hands together. He waited for the reciprocal nod before continuing. Then I want you to bend over and put your hands on the edge of that table. How's he going to be able to do that if his hands are tied together, by the way? He licked his lips when he heard the boy's apostrophe S, please, breath hitch when one of his fingers pushed at his hole. and I'm going to lick you open for me because I ain't no little Asian man. You're going to need a lot of work if you're going to take me. He removed his hands from John and looked down at his face. You like that idea? I mean, you do owe me after all, seeing I could have just left you here for Crispy over there. He pointed over to the dead man on the floor.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, what, boy?
I like that idea, sir.
Like I said before, rape totally turns on the victims of it. Damn right you do. The smile. Get rid of the D. The smile never left his face as he watched him follow the order so easily. Okay, who the heck is he? Who the heck is his? And who the hell is him? Use the names.
Yes. Be more descriptive. It helps the people read your piece of shit fanfic. You learned to tie a rope on some weekend cartoon boy? Blake moved over in front of him and grabbed the rope. I didn't tell you to half-ass it. When I ask you to do something, I expect it done right. He pulled the knot tight and pushed his hands away, motioning for him to move. How is he going to move? His hands are tied!
Okay, moving forward. Can I undress, sir? John mumbled as he placed his hands on top of the side of the table.
Yes, because, a person who is about to be sexually violated always asks their violator if they can undress.
Of course they do. Move forward.
Nah, leave what you got on.
What did he do? Turn into Gus Gus from Cinderella?
He grinning. She sitting. Me sitting.
Me killing! Ah!
Like a girl leaving her heels on. You're gonna be my girl for the night. If this thing references Full Metal Jacket,
I don't think we want to know if it references Full Metal Jacket, do we?
no, you don't.
Okay then.
He moved to place his calloused hand on the boy's narrow hips, forcing him to move backward until he was effectively holding onto the table with the ends of his fingers. Who was doing that? With what hands? Describe! Describe what is going on!
Now, what did I say I was going to do next? Blake let his eyes drift down to the boys again, apostrophe S please, shaking back before moving his gloved palm over the soft skin. The soft skin of his back or the soft skin of his butt? I ain't talking to myself here, boy. Bring his hand down hard against his backside, causing John to cry out. So what is he doing? Spanking himself? Tell me what you're gonna do, boy! I mean, really? Or is he supposed to be spanking John? I mean, clarify, please.
And really, not to mention, nice comma and capitalization there. Oh wait, no you didn't! You said you were gonna lick me open, sir. Inhaling deep through his nose while the paints of nails turned white.
Blake took a knee and spread John's ass roughly. Fuck you, look tight. His idea was confirmed. What idea? When he pressed the tip of his thumb into his opening, so is he fingering himself now, and met with a warm vice. You mean to tell me he had you strung up here all this time and didn't touch you?
John's chapter was parted instantaneously with the new intrusion. No, sir. Because when a person, I'm just saying, I've never done it myself, but I would think that when you're kidnapping somebody and detaining them against their will, your first thought is not always, hey, let's fuck him in the ass.
Well, damn, I'm really gonna have to work you open then. Blake leaned down and ran his tongue down the cleft of his ass. So is he licking his own ass now? Geez, Gene Simmons would be jealous, wouldn't he? I'm until it reached his hole, running it lightly across the outside before dipping in.
Fuck, sir, John gasped as Blake continued, opening him up to his tongue.
He let one of his hands slide down and pushed his index finger back inside of the boy alongside his tongue, alternating between licking and sucking at the edges of his clenched hole. Man, he's really flexible. One finger became two almost instantly, and as if on cue, he began pushing his hips back against his fingers. Who the heck is he in his? Fucking himself deeper until he felt the third finger start to penetrate him. It's too much, he gasped again. Too much, sir. So I guess this was all John the entire time.
Blake refused to let up, tonguing where the third finger was pressing before pulling back. Trust me, it ain't too much yet. Sides, you're opening up real nice and wet, just like a girl. Pretty sure a man's asshole does not self-lubricate.
No, it doesn't. Vaginas lubricate, but not asses. That's why you buy lube or you use spit. Not that I would know that, because I've never done it, but from what I've read in other stories, that's what you do.
And if I may make this observation here, Lust Clock was sexier than this, and it was about two guys.
Not to mention Lesbian Jesus was the one who read that story.
Yeah, that did help.
Not a girl. Blake's warm leather-clad hand wasn't exactly a shock when he felt the sharp impact, so what did he do, slap him again? Sir, not a girl, sir.
The grin must have been emanating because John shook beneath him as soon as it spread across his features. As soon as what spread across his features? Descriptions! Use them! They help us understand your fucked up psyche so much better! Of course, that would lead to imply that we were trying to understand it. Think you're ready now, boy? He moved his three fingers roughly in and out, occasionally spreading and flexing them. What was he doing? What was he doing? Shadow puppets? This is a dog.
No comment. Okay, Yes, sir. His voice didn't falter as his hips moved along with Blake's fingers.
Gotta agree with you there. You definitely feel ready. He stood and began unclasping his body armor and underclothing. Oh, goody. Just what you want to do when you're in the middle of a war zone. Get naked and stop for a quickie. Too many fucking layers. He mumbled as he freed his straining cock. What was his cock straining against? Ugh. He gave it a few pumps before lining himself up. Fuck, you're still gonna be tight as hell.
He buried himself to the hilt in one stroke, his hand leaving deep finger-shaped bruises on the smaller man's, again apostrophe yes, hips. He could feel him trembling beneath him, could see him struggling with purchase on that piece of shit desk in front of him. You're even tighter than I expected. Blake graded out, making a circular motion with his hips to draw out a reaction. Not too much now, is it, boy?
No. John swallowed a dry moan. No, sir.
Blake let his hands slide up the warm flesh until I think you mean to say they reached his shoulders. Good. And he roughly pulled back out and slammed home before John could protest. His steady rhythm was accompanied by low grunts coming from the man beneath him. Stifled moans or noises of pain didn't really matter. He wasn't exactly screaming no.
Although he should have been. I mean, because the first thing I think of when I am released from being tortured and tormented is, you know what? I want to be sodomized. What the fuck is wrong with you?
so Channel Nash there.
I don't know if I should take that as a compliment or not.
Take it as both.
Okay.
Alright, moving forward.
Blake, he moved one of his hands, nice grammar, to fist in what used to be a tight crop top. Months in a POW camp had changed into a shaggy pile of hair. He gripped it roughly, forcing the boy to crane his head up while Blake continued to pound into him. Fuck, your ass feels all warm and wet, just like a cunt too. He groaned as he moved his other hand to the boy's hips and pulling him off the table.
Maybe John McCain has a vagina for an ass.
Stop calling him a boy! You're not making it better!
No, you're not. Moving forward, keeping his chest flush with John's back, he grinned into the other man's neck again, apostrophe ass, as he felt the boy push himself down onto his cock in time with his thrusts. He reached his arm around and wrapped a hand around John's cock. You think you deserve to come yet?
Please, sir. I need medical attention, you insensitive dumb fuck!
I need a hero! I'm calling out for a hero that won't fuck me in the night. He'll come rescue me instead of fucking me and get me all home alright. I need a hero! Yeah, I'll never do that again. Let's move forward. Yeah. Blake pulled out almost completely before shoving deep back into electing?
I demand a recount!
Yes, we definitely need a recount of electing a deep moan. We need an election for better moans. Do 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 do. Electing a deep moan from the blonde. Didn't ask what you needed, boy. Only what you think you deserve.
I think he deserves not to be fucked in the ass by the guy who's supposed to be rescuing him. Just saying. John wiggled his hips, trying to get friction with Blake's unmoving hand before answering. I only get to get off when you do, sir.
Blake flashed his teeth before nuzzling into his neck. So is he nuzzling into his own neck like this? I was a cat in my past life. Moving forward, that's right. He inhaled deep and he picked up the pace of his thrust and fuck, I'm about ready to. He allowed his hand to start sliding up and down the boy apostrophe S.
If I may, I think maybe the apostrophes are charging him charging the author like $100 an appearance.
That must be the only explanation. Either that or if they've ever heard of the concept of an apostrophe.
Well, that can't be right because there's apostrophes here and there and there.
Well, maybe they're just stupid.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Let's continue. The boy's aching hard on while he continued to thrust up into him. Blake cried out loudly as he came still buried inside of John's fingers. What?
He was buried inside John's fingers?
I thought he was fucking him in the ass. I didn't know you could fuck someone's fingers.
Is this some... Are you trying to be surrealist or something? Are you trying to be avant-garde? It's like he's buried in his fingers? I mean, how does that work exactly?
Yeah, okay, let's continue. Inside of John's fingers gripping the other man's cock and waist. Okay. He gave a few more light pumps before John came all over the table in Blake's hand. You know, I'm beginning to think that this person is like an alternate account for Hamo Hamster.
He laughed out loud before pulling out and leaving the younger man to lean against the table. Damn, that was pretty good for your first time, boy.
John remained hunched over by the table, catching his breath. Where do we go now, sir? John asked, still panting from his release.
Blake raised an eyebrow, the smile disappearing from his features. The fuck do you mean we? I don't care what you do. I've still got business up north.
His brow furrowed, whose brow furrowed, by the way, and he stole a glimpse back at the older man. I guess that was supposed to be John. Then why'd you come to the POW camp?
Blake shrugged as he tidied himself up. It was on the way, and I was getting damn bored. Fucking commie cowards were hiding, though I'd get my own action. Don't you mean thought? You know, as in, I thought writing a sodomy fic with John McCain and the comedian was a good idea at the time, but then I sobered up and realized I really shouldn't be writing such things about people who are not only real people, but whose political opinions I don't agree with. And I can only assume that this is why this was written, because somebody really didn't like John McCain and decided that he needed to be sodomized, and not only that, but willingly sodomized. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. He still didn't move from where Blake had let him drop, still trying to understand what Blake was saying. Look, you can grab a couple of guns and shit from those Viacog I lit up outside and make your way south to a camp, because you sure as fuck ain't my problem.
He didn't give John time to reply as he made his way to his discarded flamethrower and walked back out the same door he'd come through. John didn't move to stop him though, because even though he'd saved him, he wouldn't have doubted that Blake would turn the weapon on him. He was the comedian after all. You know, just because he was the comedian doesn't make him a tool to use in your great fantasy. You know,
Well, what a delightful story. Seeing you seem so passionate right now, Writer's Block, why don't you let us all know how you feel about this fanfic?
Here's how I feel.
I think he just destroyed his camera. Okay, we probably won't see a new episode from him for a while, and we probably won't see him on this show for a while. Yeah, I'm going to assume that he didn't like the fanfic. As for my thoughts, this fanfic, what do you guys think? I mean, really, you guys have been watching this show for what, 181 episodes now? How do you think I feel about this? The fanfic was stupid. It had a real person in it, which is against the rules on fanfiction.net. So this story will probably be removed. And it's just, it was just badly written. The grammar was atrocious. I mean, they were not good with describing things. You couldn't tell what the heck was going on half the time with what character is supposed to be doing which. And the fact that they kept on forgetting the stupid apostrophes made me want to scream. I mean, this fanfic was just bad. Frankly, I should be freaking out more in regards to this, but you know, I've just read so many fanfics like this where it's not even really affecting me anymore. It really isn't. This was just laughably bad. Well, I'm the fanfic critic. I read it, you listen, and I need to go check on Susan.